For years, we've talked to AI. We've asked it questions, had it write poems, generate images. But 2025? Whoa, that was different. That was the year the conversation stopped being so one-sided. It was the year AI finally started doing the work for us.
This one sentence, it just perfectly captures the massive shift we're breaking down today. We're talking about moving from these passive assistants to truly active agents. And believe me, this one idea completely rewrote the rules for the entire industry.
So, what was the crucial change? Well, think about it like this. We went from chatbots, which, let's be honest, were basically just super advanced search engines, right? They answered our questions. But then we got agents. These are AI systems that could understand a goal and then autonomously execute complex, multi-step tasks to achieve it. It's the difference between asking for a recipe and having the AI actually order the groceries and have them delivered to your door. Huge difference.
So, what does this leap from answering to acting actually look like? Well, that brings us to the core technology that really powered this whole revolution.
The key term you gotta know here is agentic workflows. And this isn't just about a smarter chatbot, not at all. This is about giving an AI a high-level goal, right? And then it figures out the how. It breaks down the problem, it uses different tools, and it sees the whole project through to the end, all without you having to constantly look over its shoulder. And this is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Instead of some poor marketing manager having to do all these steps one by one, you just give the AI agent a goal, launch the new product. Boom! The agent then plans the whole campaign, writes all the content, schedules it, and it even analyzes the results to tell you how it all went. And look, this isn't science fiction anymore. This was the new reality of work that really started taking shape in 2025. Okay, so a shift this massive? Of course it's not going to happen without a fight. This new action era, as they called it, kicked off this absolutely fierce, high-stakes battle between the biggest AI labs in the world. Everybody wanted to build the most capable, the most dominant AI agents. All right, first up, you've got the heavyweight champion, OpenAI. Their whole strategy? It was all about raw power. They basically believed that if they could just build a big enough model, they could unlock general intelligence. So they launched GPT-5, and they started these massive, almost unbelievable infrastructure projects. Their goal was simple: secure compute supremacy. They were betting that the biggest model would ultimately win the agent race. Go big or go home. Then you've got Anthropic, and man, they played a totally different game. They weren't trying to build the biggest thing on the block. Nope. They were laser-focused on being useful for businesses. Their breakout agent, Claude Code, became the absolute killer app for developers. And just like that, Anthropic became the undisputed new leader in that really high-value enterprise space. And of course, you can never, ever count out Google. Their big advantage wasn't just about having a great model. It was all about its deep, seamless integration into everything you already use. Think about it. They built their Gemini agent right into Search, into Workspace, into Android. They were trying to become the default, the sticky choice for millions of people who wouldn't even have to think about it. Okay, so this table really lays out the chess match, right? You can see OpenAI going for that big, splashy flagship with GPT-5 late in the summer. But look at Anthropic. They struck early and hard with their enterprise-focused Claude Code back in February. And Google, they just pushed integration with their AI mode, which was basically their marketing term for weaving Gemini agents deep into Search so they could act for you. And noticed everyone was also obsessed with efficiency, releasing these smaller, faster models for everyday stuff. So yeah, 3 giants, 3 totally different game plans, all trying to conquer this new world of agentic AI. So, an arms race like this, it's fueled by absolutely staggering amounts of money. The financial story of 2025 is honestly just as dramatic as the tech story. Okay, just let this number sink in for a second. $300 billion. That was OpenAI's valuation. We're talking about a figure that puts it in the same league as some of the largest companies on the planet. The market wasn't just betting that agentic AI was the next big thing. It was betting it was, everything. But this wasn't just about one company's crazy valuation. The whole industry spent over $400 billion just on CapEx. That's things like data centers and chips. That was the price tag for building the foundation for this new era. A technological build-out on a truly historic scale. And this is where you can really see how strategy paid off. So while OpenAI had that eye-popping valuation, this chart shows that Anthropic quietly grabbed 40% of the actual cash that businesses were spending on AI.
See, their focus on practical, high-stakes work, like coding, turned out to be an incredibly smart and lucrative move. And all of this led to a major vibe check from investors. The days of just writing blank checks for cool-sounding tech, yeah, those were over. By 2025, the market wanted to see a real path to profitability. The whole focus shifted from just hype to proven, practical utility. And that's exactly why you saw investors starting to favor the clear business models of a company like Anthropic, or the ecosystem lock-in that Google was going for.
Okay, so we've got the tech, the competition, the money, but what does all this actually mean for us? For our jobs, for our careers? This is where this whole agent revolution starts to get really personal.
And yeah, it created a very real sense of uncertainty out there. The data showed that almost half of all professionals, we're talking 46%, had legitimate concerns about their job security because of these new autonomous systems. This wasn't some distant tech trend anymore. This was a conversation happening at dinner tables all over the country.
And probably no profession felt this change more sharply than software development. The entire role of the developer just fundamentally shifted. It wasn't about grinding out every single line of code anymore. Instead, it became about being a system architect. Your job was to design the big picture, the overall structure, and then orchestrate these teams of AI agents, like Claude Code, to handle all the detailed implementation. You basically became the manager, not just the maker. And while all this was happening, behind the scenes, the industry was busy building the plumbing to make it all work. A new standard emerged called MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol. Think of it like this. It was the universal key that finally allowed AI agents to securely and reliably connect to a company's data, whether it was sitting on a local machine or up in the cloud. And that connection is absolutely essential if you want them to do any kind of meaningful work. Okay, so with all this crazy change, you're probably asking, where do I fit into all this, right? Well, this isn't just about understanding what happened. It's about getting ready for what's next. And the source material actually gives us a pretty clear action plan for how to navigate this new action era. All right, so here's the playbook broken down. For investors, the message is the smart money isn't on just any old model anymore. It's on the crucial infrastructure that powers all these agents. For businesses, the message is way more urgent. Get your data house in order and adopt standards like MCP, because if you don't, you are going to get left behind, fast. And for all of us as professionals, the mission is crystal clear. We have to learn how to manage and orchestrate these new AI tools. The real value is shifting away from just doing the task to being the person who designs the system that gets the task done. And that really brings us to the final thought here. For the very first time, we have technology that doesn't just respond to us, it acts for us. It can take our goals, our ambitions, and actually make them a reality. So, the bottleneck isn't the tool's capability anymore. It's the quality of our questions. It's the ambition of our commands. So the only question really left is, what are you going to ask it to do?